I can't believe this is right, but it is right, folks. And I hope we know why Caitlin Clark got that T now.
Even though it's only been a few games, an unsettling pattern from the previous season has already surfaced and cannot be disregarded.
Another year and another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark, the biggest star in the NBA, is already being mistreated by two players. And once more, the referees have put their whistles in their pockets, just like they did during the previous season. You see, they're not just allowing clear. When Caitlin dares to react, contacts slide, punishing her. Yes, she is being fouled for pointing out the obvious. Caitlin endured constant hits, body checks, elbows, and other abuse during the previous season. The officials pretended to give each other high fives and fist bumps. The similar trend is now showing up, and the WNBA as a whole need to be concerned. Because there's a larger pattern at play here, one that's not only unjust to Caitlin, but it might prove disastrous for both the league and Fever. Now let's start the fireworks. That enraged commentators and fans and made everyone worry for Caitlin. But before, please like and subscribe to further updates on the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark.
New year, Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted though, bruh.
It's absurd that Caitlin Clark is already receiving attention before the regular season really begins. Smacked around, and the referees are doing nothing. Does that sound familiar? Because that's precisely what took place. Last season, Caitlin would be driving when she was bumped, shoved, elbowed, hacked, and the whistles went off. Quiet. The referees seem to have forgotten what. Anytime Caitlin touched the ground, it was a foul. And this wasn't an isolated incident. It developed into a pattern.
Even in the playoffs last year, do we not remember when Caitlin Clark is shooting a layup and she's in the air and Marina Mabrey commits a block, a hit on the arm, everything. She just comes late and is like, Caitlin's not getting a layup. Jumps sideways into her, takes her arms out, knocks Caitlin on the ground, and then stops because she knows she's fouled, and the referees are like, play on, play on.
It's absurd that Caitlin Clark is already receiving attention before the regular season really begins. Smacked around, and the referees are doing nothing. Does that sound familiar? Because that's precisely what took place. Last season, Caitlin would be driving when she was bumped, shoved, elbowed, hacked, and the whistles went off. Quiet. The referees seem to have forgotten what. Anytime Caitlin touched the ground, it was a foul. And this wasn't an isolated incident. It developed into a pattern.
That's just basketball at the end of the day. No, that's never gonna change. I'm never gonna lose that. I feel like I'm getting hammered. I don't know. I appreciate Christy getting a tech too. Like, I don't know.
The Kennedy Carter hit, however, is the foul that truly sticks out and represents how awful things had gotten. The jumper works well. Kennedy Carter now has 12 points. There was no play on the ball, no basketball move, and an off-ball foul. Caitlin was sent flying by a simple body check. And for some reason, it was only declared a common foul rather than a flagrant. What? The entire talk revolved around that particular time. What is a flagrant if that isn't one? For supporters, it was a pivotal moment. They had already grown weary of the lack of security, but this was unprecedented. If you felt irritated while watching from home, try to picture yourself as Caitlin. Because Caitlin is Caitlin Clark, players will play her hard on the court. She is the best player. That is not an issue. However, things must change when they continue to take liberties without being held accountable. Because of this, Sophie Cunningham and seasoned leaders like Duana Bonner were affected by the fever. Players who, when things turn aggressive, don't hesitate to intervene and defend themselves. Additionally, flashes have already been observed of such resilience.
People here in a real home court advantage.
However, we also believed that the league would get better. After everything, Caitlin hoped that the officiating would catch up. Ultimately, the WNBA would acknowledge her importance to their future based on the ratings, ticket sales, and jersey records. Prioritize keeping her safe. Or, at the very least, to increase the uniformity of officiating. Because players are making cheap shots. That's one thing. The league's face is being decked, but referees are doing nothing about it. You lose casual admirers in this way. quick and possibly your cash cow. In a moment, more on it. However, let's go on to the game that excited everyone.
As he is, Shatoy Walker-Kimbrough was talking to the official about the ref. Caitlin Clark on the deck.
Once more, Caitlin Clark was heavily fouled without any calls. Every time she touched, the referees absolutely swallowed their whistles. The ball, such as physicality, was merely a component of the Caitlin tax. She is knocked off balance, hit, and bumped. And nothing. There is no safeguard, no disincentive, and no indication that such behavior will not be accepted. It seems as though the referees are challenging her to voice her complaints because she is the one who receives. The technology. The plot is the same as it was in the previous season, but it's louder and earlier.
Paupau's literally holding her, two hands holding her jersey. It's not even hand checking. Holding her jersey with two hands. And the ref's not calling anything.
She actually had no free throws, and I'm not kidding.
It's kind of interesting that Caitlin Clark hasn't been to the free throw line at all.
The biggest target on the floor, Caitlin Clark, was hacked throughout the game without firing a single shot. Not even on evident contact, not a single trip to the line. The referees are either blind or are establishing an early impression that it's Caitlin Clark's open season.
Caitlin Clark in the preseason, 29 points with 0 free throw attempts. What is happening?
The league was notified by the enraged fans. Outrage flooded in from all directions. Of the web, users on X were brutally honest with the referees. One supporter yelled, "You're going to make your..."
Somebody had pointed out how many frickin' free throw attempts she's had. I think it's 30 in the preseason. Caitlin Clark hadn't gotten one damn foul called in her favor that would have put her to the line. Are you kidding me right now? I don't understand what is going on.
It didn't seem like a coincidence. Fans are beginning to speak out loud about how it seemed targeted. Additionally, as with clockwork, Caitlin's annoyance became apparent.
On a 10-3, make it 12-3 run, as they are now just down 1 point.
She received a technical penalty for expressing her annoyance at a missed call, and it got to the point where Sophie Cunningham was forced to intervene. The referees are already in mid-season 2024 form, even though it's preseason. However, Caitlin's reaction. She made a huge statement with her step-back three. It was pure cinema. "I'll knock down a three if you knock me down." Caitlin is capable of responding. She doesn't require retribution. She requires an inch of room and the ball. And Caitlin wasn't the only one receiving. Fouled. Everyone...
On that same play where Ryan Howard does create contact with Caitlin Clark, DeWanna Bonner also gets fouled. It is not called. That definitely should have been called. And I mean, I don't know. And the Indiana Fever don't have the best whistle. They didn't have a good whistle last season. I thought the whistle would definitely get better because everyone is putting the refs on notice. And I think that they know that they're going to be heavily scrutinized in any Indiana Fever game. I do think that they have to pay extra attention and definitely make sure when there's a foul that it is called, because it doesn't seem like that's going that direction just yet.
The Fever doesn't appear to be receiving any calls. It seems as though the referees brought whistles but chose to conceal them. Simply for amusement, in their pockets. Players are being bulldozed, shoved, and hacked, but nothing is happening. Just shrugs, no free throws, no fouls. T eventually ceases to be letting children play and begins to appear like carelessness.
There are freedom of movement rules. And then Ryan Howard plows through Caitlin. Caitlin goes up straight, like, no call. Or sorry, foul on Caitlin. And then I saw other times where players were literally just hacking and getting away with it. Genuinely hacking.
And that leads to a more general issue. It's not all about Caitlin Clark. The Fever isn't the only thing. It has to do with all of the officiating.
WNBA, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, has a severe refereeing problem. And obviously, look, when anything happens with Caitlin Clark, more light is brought to it. But it was really bad. Like, it was really, really bad watching the game yesterday. And it happens always.
The caliber of WNBA officiating is currently being closely examined. Too many inconsistent whistles, too many missed calls, and insufficient responsibility. People take notice when it affects the league's biggest attraction. In actuality, though, it has an impact on the entire game. Even Brent Clark, Caitlin's father, fueled the Flames during an interview with ESPN during the Brazil match.